Okay, so we are sponsored by A.B. Spry, who sponsors for the soldier, and we'll learn special for a soldier tonight, Mose Ben Varda Devora, and for the safety of Klal Yisrael by Shimon Klein, Ilu Nishmas, Asheran Shimon Yehuda, Gittel Shimon Pinchas, by Irving Fishbaum, Refuah Shalem for Issa Ben Razel, and Eliezer Ben Razel. We learn from Meir Ben Chaya Sarah. We welcome in Irving Fishbaum, A.B. Spry, Baruch Ian, Shelley Zeitman, Yitz Fuchs, Menachem Yamansky, Elliot Udell, Eddie Chazan, Mark Frankel. I don't know. He's confusing me. Marvel Cabell or something. Shimon Klein, Aaron Slade, Dr. Guy, Ruvain Pollack, Rabbi Kranz. Itchy, it's good to have you. I can't see who that is. I think it's Shalom Fogel. Stephen Holtzman, Rich Leonard, very handsome tonight. Yisrael Fisher, cloned twice. Harrison Kletzel, Ilya Shutman, Abe Arbach, Yitzi Muller, Yitzi Padower, Harrison Kletzel, Moshe Lehman, Richard Rosenzweig, Sandy Grunfeld, Neil Foreman. Here in the shul we have Saba, we have Ruvain Shanit, we have Michael, and we have Michael Avram, and Gedalia and Berish. Oh, is Avram tonight? Avram is not on Zoom either. What's going on here? Huh. Okay. David Helfgott on Kololashin. Okay, so we're holding at the two dots way ahead on Daf Kuf Hey Amid Aleph. It says Chutz mipacha shava pruta b'keren. In other words, if there was left of the principal that Marshall stole from Abi less than a shava pruta, so then he doesn't have to go to Madai to return that. So now here's an interesting question. Amar Papa, Lo Yishanu, the only time we say that he doesn't have to return for a shava less than a shava pruta is Ela she'ein gezela kayemes. That's only if the theft is not intact. But let's say that Marshall stole from Abi a pickle, and the pickle is intact. Now pickles went down and they're worth less than a pruta. So he says, I don't have to return it, and I could bring, for swearing falsely about it, I could bring my oshim. The problem is that the price of the pickle might go up again. And if the price of the pickle went up, so then he has to return it, and the oshim that he brought before he returned it would then be disqualified. So therefore, if it's still intact, we make him return it. Why? Chayshina, we're afraid Shematiyaker. We're afraid that it might go back up to a pruta, and then he'll have to return it, and the guilt offering that he brought before he turned it would be disqualified. However, there's another version, Ikadamre. Others say we're not worried that the pickle is going to go up. It makes no difference if the gazela is intact. If it's less than a shava pruta now, he doesn't have to bring it back to Abi to Madai. And it might go up in value to be more than a pruta. We're not worried about that. Now, Amarava. Gazal Sholish Agudais, if Marshall stole 3 bundles from Abi, Bisholish Prutas, and they're worth 3 prutas. V'huzlu, they went down in value. V'amdu al shtayim, and now the 3 of them are worth 2 prutas. Im hilza lo shtayim, if he returned 2 of the 3 bundles, so now since all 3 is worth 2 prutas, when he returned 2 of them, the last bundle is less than a pruta. Chayiv lahazer lo yacheres. He has to return the 3rd bundle. Now, the tuna. Now, why does he have to return the 3rd bundle? Here, it's a situation. Here it's a situation where originally it was worth 3 prutas, right? It's not like we're saying that it's worth less than a pruta and we're afraid that it might go up. Here, it was originally worth 3 prutas, and he has to return ke'ein shegazel. He has to return the way it was. Now, let's see Rashi. Chayiv la'arzaloi, aguda acheres, v'afal pi dahashta lo yishavya pruta, but kaven de b'shas gezela have yishavya pruta, since at the time of the theft, each bundle was worth a pruta, boi la'adure, he has to return it, ula'olicha achrav. And now the Gemara, as we welcome in Dr. Block, and I don't know, Marshall, if you're following this, but Dr. Block is our 31st Zoomer of the evening, and Jay Siegel is now the 32nd, and we give you also Sandy Grunfeld, Neil Foreman, and Richard Rosenzweig. So you're already 35. We'll throw in Saba as a player to be named later. So you're 14 away from Bourbon City. You got to get moving, Marshall. Do some of your magic.
Sign in a second time.
Right. You keep on cloning yourself. Teach Marshall how to do that.
Steal 14 people and get them on here. I'm stealing everything under the sun, so let's 14 more people.
Okay. So anyway, Vitana Tuna. And we learned this idea, and here's Pesach Singelman for our 33rd Zoomer of the evening. Whoa, are we rich tonight? What's going on over here tonight? What is this? After Valentine's Day, everybody is refreshed. That's what it must be. So it says the Gemara, Vitana Tuna, and we learned this idea, Gazal Chametz, Marshall steals Chametz. He steals Chametz from Abi, poor Abi. He steals chametz from Avi, v'over Pesach, and it goes through Pesach. Now remember, chametz that's over Pesach is also ba'ana. I'm aloi, well, tough luck on Abi. Marshall could tell him, Arishel chalafanecha. Here's what I stole you, because the fact that it's also is a hezek shein and nicker, it's a non-discernible damage, and he could just return it. But taima de'isei be'enei. That's only if the chametz is there. If the chametz is not there anymore, if the chametz got lost, so then Marshall has to return him full value. Even though now what Marshall had, the chametz was worth nothing. But since initially when he stole it before Pesach from Abi, it was worth something, he has to restore what he stole. Hachanami, now also when the 3rd bundle, even though now it's not worth a pruta, but since initially each bundle was worth a shava pruta, now, listen to the next shayla. By Rava. You know, Marshall, that Mark paid a heavy price while you were away. He was
black and blue marks all over.
Yeah, they were talking about it all over the tri-state area, all over. Who's Frankel from Baylor Kinwood? So I said, look in the post office. You'll see his picture. So anyway, by Rava.
For you, anything, Marshall.
By Rava. Gozel shtei agudais bepruta. What happened was Marshall stole from Abi 2 bundles worth a pruta. So it was 2 bundles worth a pruta. V'hilzaloi achas mehem. And Cutie Marshall returns him 1 bundle. So now, Marshall doesn't owe him anything of a real value, because the remaining bundle is worth less than a pruta. So, Mao, mi amrinon, do we say hashta leka gzela? Do we say, well, he doesn't have a what's called a real value of theft by him, because he only has less than a pruta. He didn't return the theft that was by him, because he stole a pruta. When he returned only one. He returned only one bundle, so he never made a hashava of value. He never returned a pruta. Hadar pashta, so he resolved it with what seems to be a contradictory resolution. Hadar pashta gzeila ein kan, there's no theft. Hashava ein kan, there's no return. So the Gemara says, well, that's contradictory. I gzeila ein kan, if he's not left with any definable gazela, because all he has left is one bundle which is worth a half a pruta, then hashava yeshkan, then he made a good restoration. Haki kamer. So the Gemara says this is what he means. Afal pisha gzela enkan, even though he's left with only one bundle which is a half a pruta, so he doesn't have a share of gazela. But mitzvah hashava enkan, since he only returned one bundle, which is worth a half a pruta, so he didn't do the mitzvah of eishav esagzela. So he has to return the other bundle so that he has a share of a pruta, and he does the mitzvah of hashava. And now the Gemara is going to compare it. Now the Gemara is going to compare it to a very interesting din. We know that a Nazir, after his 30 days of Naziris, a Nazir doesn't cut his hair. Stam Naziris is for 30 days. Kaddish Yiyah, Gadol Perasah, Roisha Yiyah is Bigmatria 30. So Stam Naziris is 30 days. After the 30 days, he has to shave all of his hair. If he leaves 2 hairs, then he didn't fulfill the mitzvah, because you have to shave that 2 hairs aren't left. V'amar Rava, hari amru nazir shegilach, a nazir that shaves, v'shayir shtei saras, and he leaves 2 hairs, he didn't fulfill the mitzvah of taglachas, because he has to shave without 2 hairs being left. So now Rava says, boy Rava, gilach achas, if he shaved 1 hair, he had 2 left, he shaved 1 of them, v'noshra achas, and then the next one fell out, the last one fell out, mao, what's the din? Says the Gemara, no, that can't be a shayla, because you could shave 1 hair at a time. So you shaved 1 hair at a time, it gets up to the last hair, they all combine. So then when he has only 1 left, that's not a problem to only have 1 left. If he shaved 1 at a time until he does the last one, is there any shaila that's going to be good? Of course that's going to be good. Says Gemara, you're right. The shaila is the other way around. What happened was his marshal shaved all his hair and had left over 2. Then 1 fell out, and then he shaved the last one. Is that good? Of the remaining 2, 1 fell out, and then and then he shaved the last hair. So when he had 2 left, he didn't fulfill the mitzvah of shaving. Then 1 fell out. Now he shaved the last one, but it doesn't have a din of shaving unless you do at least 2. A minimum shaving is 2. So what's the din then? Do we say, well, he doesn't have any hair left on his head anymore? Mi amrinon, hashtami is haleka seir, or haleka shear. There isn't a shear of hair. He shaved everything off. Oy dilma halav giluchu. That's not shaving. The meikara saras. Initially, his first shaving was no good because he left 2 hairs. V'hashta kigilach, and when he shaved, 1 hair fell out, And when he shaved the last hair, lo yavi beis saris, so he didn't have a shear of shaving, because the minimum shear of shaving is 2 hairs. So Hadar Pashta again, and this is how it gets in, Hadar Pashta with a contradictory statement, Sarein kan, Giluach ein kan. There's no hair, there's no shaving. So the Gemara says to the contrary, Isarein kan, if there's no hair, then he did fulfill. Giluach yesh kan. Says Gemara Hachi Kama, Afal Gav Shesarein kan, even though he's bald, and he doesn't have hair, mitzvahs Giluach ein kan. Why? Because when he did the first shaving, he had 2 left, and that's no good. Then 1 hair fell out, and then when he did the final shaving on the last hair, one hair is not considered a din of taglachas. And therefore, as the Minchas Chinuch says over here, the only way for him to do is to grow hair again and shave it again. That's the only way for him to fulfill the mitzvah of taglachas. V'amarava, just getting underway on a beautiful Leil early Yom Shishi, as we're getting ready for Friday. And am I right that tomorrow is Zayin Adar? Does anybody know?
Adar Aleph, yeah.
Yeah, Zayin Adar. So tomorrow is
Yes, tomorrow is Zayin Adar.
yeah, Zayin Adar, Hilula de Moshe Rabbeinu. It's a beautiful thing that Moshe Rabbeinu is Bigematria Taryag. It's Bigematria 613. The words Moshe Rabbeinu, Moshe Rebbe is Taryag, 613, because he taught us the 613 mitzvahs. Now, V'amarava. Oh, that's probably a good thing to put away during this year. Not for me, for you. Now, V'amarava. Now, this is an interesting thing. We know that an earthenware vessel is not mekabel tuma me'aviroi. That means that an earthenware vessel cannot accept tuma from its outside. It's impervious to tuma to its outside. And therefore, if let's say there's a piece of corpse on the ground floor of a house, and there's a skylight, if you put an earthenware vessel, the side of it, blocking the skylight, it'll block the tumah from the piece of corpse to pass through the skylight to the second story. Because a clay cheres is impenetrable, tumah does not pass from its outside. What happens if there's a hole in the clay cheres? If there's a hole, then the tumah enters the clay cheres, and it makes the clay cheres tameh, and then it cannot block the tumah from spreading to the second story. If you would fill up that hole, says the Gemara, V'amarava, Hari Amru, Chavius, a earthenware jug, shenikva, that became perforated, v'sasmua shmorim, and it was sealed by sediment, hitzilua, it blocks the tumah from going through, because the sediment successfully seals the hole that the tumah can't pass inside the clay cheres. Boy Rava. So Rava now declares, Agaf chetzia, if you blocked up half of the hole with some clay. Now, what's left is not the size that admits tumah into the clay cheres. But do we say that when you block half of it, that's considered to be a good blockade? Or maybe since it doesn't fill the whole hole, it's not considered to be a blockade, even the half that's there, and maybe the tumah passes through. Mao. Amalei Rav Yemel or Rav Ashi, well, isn't that the rest of the Mishnah that you started quoting? Lav Mishnah saying Huizu Ditnan Chavya Shenikva. A earthenware jug that was perforated with a smooth shmarim and you sealed it with sediment, it's ilua. it stops the tumah from going through. Pakaka bismayra, if you closed it with a vine, achi mareach, it's not considered a seal until you seal all around the vine. Hoyubosh dayim, even if there's two vines, achi mareach minat stadim, you have to seal it on the sides. Obein zmayra lechaverta. So you see, even if you had the vine there, which made it less than the amount of tumah to pass through, it's not considered a seal until you close it up entirely. Taima demarach. That's only if you smear it with clay all around. Holoi marach loy. But why not? Shouldn't it be like you seal it half? So you see, unless the whole hole is sealed, the blockade is not a good blockade. Says, man, that's not a good raya. The clay that's half stays there. The vines, if you don't seal them, they're going to fall away. It's not a blockade at all. Imre hachi hashta hasim iloi marach. If you don't smear it like kai, agav chetzia b'midei dekai kai. But if you seal it half with clay and it's going to stay there, maybe that's good. The Gemara doesn't answer this shaila. It's even funny that the Gemara admits this question into this sugya. V'amar Rava, let's get back to Marshall. Now, it's always more interesting.
Yeah.
V'amar Rava, Hari Amru, Gazal Chametz, Marshall stole from Abi Chametz, he stole beer, 100 bottles of beer, V'avar alav Pesach, and it went through a Pesach. Omer loy hari shalcha lefanecha. He could tell Abi after Pesach, even though all the beer became asur, since it passed through Pesach, he could tell Abi, here's your 100 cans of Heineken. Hari shalcha lefanecha. Now this gets really interesting. Really, it just shows you what a chutzpah. Boy Rava. Rava has an interesting thing. After Pesach, Abi asks Marshall, "Where's my beer?" Marshall swears that he didn't steal it. He doesn't have it. Then he confesses and admits. Does Marshall have to bring an asham? He didn't swear of anything of value. Because when he swore about the 100 barrels of beer, it was after Pesach, they have no value. Maybe he doesn't have to bring an asham. Maybe he doesn't have to add a fifth. It's only if you swear about something that has value. After Pesach, the beer doesn't have value anymore. Or do we say that if Marshall doesn't have the 100 barrels, then he's going to have to pay Abi the value of the 100 barrels? So then the beer is a dover agorim l'mammon. It generates money. And since it's something that generates money, maybe Marshall has to bring a carbon. Let's see it inside. It's really a very interesting shayla. Let's see the Gemara. By Rava, Nishba alav Mao. If Marshall swears to Abi, I didn't steal your beer, it's after Pesach. Miyamina, do we say, Kevan de imignav, if that beer would be stolen from Marshall, boy shlumele, he would have to pay then Abi the value of 100 barrels of beer. He would have to pay him $400. Mamaina kafale. The oath was about something that has value. It has value of $400. Or do we say, right now, the barrels of beer are valueless? Hashtemiyas ha-manach, the beer is here, and the beer after Pesach is also ma'anava afra b'malmo. It's mere dust. It's also ma'anava. V'loi kafalei mamaina. And it's not a denial of money, and therefore maybe he doesn't have to bring an asham. He doesn't have to add a fifth. So this was Rava's shaila. It's really a very interesting shaila. So the Gemara tells us, although Rava had such a shaila, milsa di iboy leila Rava, something that was a question to Rava, pshita leila Rava, was obvious to Rava. Get a load of this, because it's only as Michal Avram says, it's only with somebody like Marshall. It can't be with anybody else. And by the way, Michal Avram hardly knows you, but he's getting the drift already.
It's not that hard to figure that out.
You got to get up very early in order to chop Marshall.
That figured me out.
Now, so anyway, Dama Rabba, Shairi Ganafta. AB says, Marshall, you stole my ox. What do you think? So Marshall says, I didn't steal it. So it's in Marshall's stable. So AB says, as we welcome in Rabbi Kranz, AB says, Mativa Yatzlacha. Then what's my ox doing in your stable? So he says, Shaymechina mani alav. You asked me to watch it. Chayiv. Marshall is chayiv. Now, why is Marshall chayiv? He admitted to having. So why is he chayiv? What? The answer is he's chayiv because according to his claim, if it was stolen from the stable, Marshall would be patur from paying, because the Shay Mechinam is patur from paying. AB is saying you stole it, then if it got stolen from his stable, then Marshall would be chay. So therefore his denial, although he's not denying any money now, because he's admitting that it's AB shar, but his denial would be translatable into money if it was stolen from him. Similarly, even if he says, AB says to him, AB says, you stole my shar. Marshall says, no. AB says, what's it doing in your stable? You paid me to watch it. Even then, chayiv. Why? He exempted himself if there was an inus, if it broke its leg, if it died. Now, in reality, since he stole it, he's chayiv for an inus. So his denial makes it possible that he would be benefiting money. Right now, it's not. The shar is there. But since it's possible, it's a davar agorim lamaman. Rabbah says that he would be chayiv to bring a carbon. Shayel ani alav. Even if Marshall says, well, I borrowed it. That's why I have it. Still chayiv. Because as a borrower, he's patur if it dies when AB is with him. Shari patur atzman meisa machmas malach, if AB was working with him, with the animal. Alma afal gav the hokoim. So we see, even though right now the animal is here, and therefore he's not denying any money. He has AB shar and he's willing to give it to him. Kavan the imignav mamayna kakafar, if it's stolen. According to Marshall's claim, he's patur because he said he was a shaymechina. So then he would be denying money. Hashtanami mamayna kakafar. And therefore, Achanami, here also, where he denies the 100 bottles of beer after Pesach, Afal gav the Afra Ba'almahu, even though now it's not worth anything, but Kavan the Mignav, if the 100 barrels was stolen by Shlumale, he would have to give AB $400. Mamayna Ma'alya, it would then be real money. Hashtanami, it's considered Mamayna Kakafale. He's denying about something that generates money, and he would have to bring a carbon. So Yosef Rabbah, not Rava, but rather Rabbah, Yosef Rabbah v'kama lala hashmaitza. Rabbah was saying this din. So Eisvei Rav Amram l'Rava. So no, Eisvei Rav Amram l'Rabbah. Rav Amram asked Rabbah. It says in the pasuk, "V'kichesh ba." where Marshall denied it, he's only chayiv if he denies it. Prat l'moida be'ikar. That excludes where Marshall admits to the essence. Ketzad. What does that mean? AB says, Shari ganafta. You stole my ox. V'uay malay ganafti. And Marshall says, I didn't steal it. So AB says, if you didn't steal it, why is it in the stable? Mativa yetzlacha. So Marshall says, what do you mean? Ata b'chartali. You sold it to me. Ata nasatali b'matana. Avicha machali. Your father sold it to me. Avicha nasli b'matana. Acha parotzi rotz me'elav. It came into my stable because it followed my cow on its own. Excuse me, acha parotzi rotz. It followed my cow. Or me'elav ba'etzli. Or it wandered by itself. Taya b'derech mutzasiv. Or I found it wandering on the road. Shemechinam ani alav. I'm free. You gave it to me to watch. Shemisach ani alav. You paid me to watch it. Shoyel ani alav. I borrowed it. V'nishba v'hoida. And he swore and he confessed. Yachol yehei chayiv. I might think he should be chayiv. Talmud leima v'kicha ishba. He denied it. Prat l'mayda be'ikar. That excludes here in as essence that he's admitting that it was Abi's. Amalei, so he said to Dura, you're mixing things up. You're mixing things up. Ki ta'anya hahi, in that case, when Abi said, what's it doing by you? The Amalei Halach. Marshall said right away, here it is. So there was no time for him to benefit from his claim. There was no time to him, he said, the benefit would be that if it was stolen, then he would be potter as a shemechinam. But he had no time to benefit from it because he said, here it is. So therefore, since he said, here it is right away, there was no kfiras mammon. Kika Amina, when did we say earlier that if Marshall said, I was a shemechinam, so he benefits it if it gets stolen? He says a shomer sacher, so he benefits if there's an inus. He's a shayl, so it benefits if Abi does work with him and it dies. The kaima ba'agam. It's talking about where it was in the marsh. So it's not available now. So something could happen. So his denial is about money, because if something happens, according to his claim that he was a shomer chinam, he would be potter if it was stolen. So the Gemara says, all of these cases we said is where Marshall admits to the essence, to the ikr, that it's Abi's. So the Gemara says, Ata machartali, if he says, Abi, you sold it to me, he's not admitting that it's Abi's. My moida be'ika, says the Gemara, no, you didn't. Marshall said, you sold it to me, but I didn't pay you yet. So he's admitting that it's his. I didn't pay you yet. Shkol turei v'zel, take it back. So he's admitting to the essence. Ata nasatali, or avicha naslali, you gave it to me, or your father gave it to me, so then he's not admitting that it's Abi's. My moida be'ika, says the Gemara, the amalei almanas da'avidna loch niyach. You gave it to me, your father gave it to me, on the condition that I do for you a certain favor, niyach denafsha, on the condition that I give you my house in Arad, I give you my house in Yerushalayim, v'lo yavid loch, and I didn't do it for you. So shkol turech v'zil, take it, it's yours. So he didn't deny the essence. Toya b'derech matzasiv. If Marshall claims that it was wandering on the road, so then maybe you should tell him, then why don't you return it to me? You should have returned it to me. Where he swore, I found the lost article, but I didn't know whose it was. I didn't know it was yours, so there, he's telling the truth. Now, the Gemara, for the final sugya of the evening, and if you think that this is involved, it takes a longer time to prepare this Gemara. It really took me a long time to prepare this Gemara. It's a very involved Gemara. So now the Gemara talks about a different type of shvuah. Marshall has not had a chance often to lie about this, but tonight he will.
He's swearing too much.
Yeah, I really told you you should. I noticed that when you're wearing your hockey, you swear a lot. But but anyway, I could see that Mark is used to your shenanigans. He's just smiling, like it's just absolutely normal. Jay is newer to this share. He's aghast. But Lamaisa is...
I'm also here in Chicago with Marshall.
Oh, you're in Chicago? Oh, I didn't know Chicago has palm trees.
What did he say?
He said he's in Chicago.
No, you said he has gas. My car needs some.
Now, we have somebody here called Mitzvah Power. I don't know who that is, but welcome, Mitzvah Power. So anyway, there's such a thing called Shvuas HaEdus, and that is that if Marshall knows testimony, then he's supposed to give it. And if we impose an oath upon him, and he says that he swears that he knows no testimony, and then he confesses later to know the testimony, then he has to bring a special carbon called the carbon Oila V'Yored. Oila V'Yored means ascending and descending. It means that he has to bring, according to his financial status, if he's wealthy, he brings an animal. If he's poorer, he brings a bird offering. If he's really poor, he brings a meal offering. But that's called Shvuas HaEdus. So now let's see. The Gemara says, it's a very unusual Gemara. The Gemara says, Amar ben Azai, by the way, just to give you an idea, Ben Azai was Rabbi Akiva's son-in-law. The marriage, however, had to be either annulled or he had to get divorced because Ben Azai was not able to consummate the marriage because he was of the very rare category of people that were choshka nafsha b'Torah. His soul was so attached to the Torah that he couldn't distract it enough to be able to consummate the marriage with his wife. As the Aruch HaShulchan explains, it says, Ein kishui ela midas. The male organ can't become erect except with concentration, and he couldn't keep his mind off from Torah enough time to consummate his marriage. So that's the great man of Ben Azai. So Ben Azai says, we also know that he was one of the 4 people that entered the paradise while he was alive. He was one of the 4. But that's for another discussion, or you could call Marshall after the shir and talk to him about it. But anyway, so Tanya, Amar ben Azai, Gimel Shvuas Hein. There are 3 types of oaths when we talk about Shvuas HaEdus, imposing oaths on witnesses. Hikr where Marshall swore that he didn't know testimony. But Hikr but in truth, he swore, the way it was is that Abi claims that Mark found his motorcycle. And Mark denies it. And AB says that Marshall knows about it. And Marshall swears that he doesn't know it. He doesn't know anything. So he says there's three scenarios over here. Now the key is that Marshall was the only witness. There weren't two witnesses. And that's critical because Marshall can't anyway make Mark pay AB. Because one witness is not good. It's for a Davar Shebamammon, you need two witnesses. But anyway, AB imposes Marshall to swear. So Marshall has three types of oaths. One is where he swore he knows nothing. That's his default position. He knows nothing.
Me and Sergeant Schultz.
And Hickerba, in truth, he knew about the motorcycle, but he didn't know who found it. He didn't know Mark, he didn't know. Or b'maitza, he knew Mark found something, but he didn't know it was a motorcycle. Or loiba, b'maitza, he didn't know about the motorcycle, and he didn't know about the finder. So the Gemara says if in reality he didn't know anything, then he swore truthfully. So the Gemara, loiba, b'maitza, kushta ishtavel. Aim of the last case is that he swore he didn't know anything, and ba'u b'maitza. He knew it was Mark, and he knew it was a motorcycle, and he knew it was Mark. Now, Lamai Hilchasa, what's this all about? Anyway, he's only one witness. One witness can't make Mark pay anyway. But here's the interesting thing. One witness, why did AB want Marshall to swear? What's it going to help AB? One witness would make Mark have to take an oath. And maybe he won't take an oath and he'll pay up. So it's possible that the fact that Marshall didn't give testimony, he could have cost AB money. So that's a machlokes Rav and Shmuel. As the Gemara says, L'may Hilchasa, Rav Ami Omer Rabbi Chanina liftar. Rav Ami said in the name of Rabbi Chanina that in these cases, Marshall is potter from a carbon, because the only time you bring a carbon is when it would have made Mark pay, and here Mark doesn't have to pay. It's only one witness. V'shmuel am lechiyev. Why a chayev? Even though Marshall doesn't have to pay because Ein Davar Shebamammon Pachas Mishnayim. Mark doesn't have to pay because Ein Davar Shebamammon Pachas Mishnayim. But Mark would have to swear, and maybe he wouldn't swear, and then he would pay AB. And by Marshall not giving the testimony, he took away that possibility. Ubeplukta dahani tanoi. The Tanya, hamashbia eid echad, if we put to an oath one witness potter, Rebbe Elazar, Rebbe Shimon Mechayev. Now, but my kamiflagi, simple. Mar savar davar agayim lamaman, that it might have caused Mark to pay because he doesn't want to take an oath. Kamamandam. Or Mar savar lav kamamandami. And the other one holds that it's not kamaman. Now, Amar Rav Sheshes, hakoifer b'pikadan. Here's what happened is I deposited by Marshall. I have a beautiful silver kaishel aliyah. Beautiful, tall kaishel aliyah. It takes a full small bottle of kedem wine. I have a minig that we pour the fourth course from the kaishel aliyah. So I have a very big kaishel aliyah, and most of the people get their wine from the kaishel aliyah. It's a huge kaishel aliyah, and that way, by the way, not only are we using wine that we hope aliyah tasted, but also it doesn't waste a lot of wine because you have a lot of wine in the kais. so many minhagim at the Seder. It's almost the Seder already. It's almost, we're in Adar as soon as Nisan, and it's a 2 Adars, but still, they bring down that many of the Gedalim said that if a girl needs a shidduch, and the same thing as a man that needs a shidduch, they should go down to open the door for Eliyahu. They should get a bracha from Eliyahu that they should have a shidduch. So, Mark, put that in your mind. It's a good thing to remember. I mean, she should be engaged before that, but
We have the same minute also to do that.
What?
We have the same minute to fill the cup from Eliyahu, at least partially.
Yeah, but when do you fill the Kaishel Eliyahu? That's another shayla. You see, my minig, it's not the standard minig, but my minig is I pour the Kaishel Eliyahu before benching. And the reason why I pour the Kaishel Eliyahu before benching is I want to have it there already when I say in benching, Harachmon Yishul Lanu es Eliyahu Anavi Zachal Atayv. So that's why I pour it before benching. And since we're talking about, I don't want to forget to tell you that after the shir, I did the Mishnah Yomis already. The reason why I did the Mishnah Yomis already is because after the shir, I'm going to do the segment for the Shabbos table. So that's coming up after the shir. And as I always say, those people that are here in Fairways will hear some of the Torah during Shabbos, so they don't need to hear it now. But everybody else is more than welcome to join us for the segment for the Shabbos table. But anyway, Rebbe Yoshev said a fascinating thing. When Rebbe Yoshev, by Shvoi Chamoscha, the family started to go downstairs to open up the door for Eliyahu Navi. So he said, you don't have to open the door. You could just open the marpeset, the porch. Because Eliyahu Navi doesn't need stairs. So he could just fly up to the porch, and therefore you only have to open the porch door. That's the famous thing that they say over from Rebbe Yoshev. So my kids asked me by the Seder, so Tati, why are you opening downstairs? I went down, it was a whole thing. I used to go down and greet Eliyahu and pray for the community, a whole thing. So the kid said to me, Tati, why don't you open the porch door? Right behind my chair was the porch door. So I said, you know what, I want Eliyahu to come through the door that we always walk through in and out. I don't want Eliyahu to use something that we're not using. I want him to use the door that we all use. But anyway, so here we got into all of that because I gave an example that I gave my Koshel Eliyahu to Marshall as a deposit. And by the way, if you're going to ask me why I would give my beautiful Koshel Eliyahu to Marshall as a deposit, the answer is it must be because I was drunk, although I don't get drunk. But
I was asking you when you gave it to me, so what happened to the wine?
Yeah. So anyway, Marshall, in front of everybody, you owe me a Koshel Eliyahu. Now, so Amar Rav Sheshis, HaKoifer b'Pikodem. If Marshall, I say, give me my Koshel Eliyahu, and he denies it, as soon as he denies it, he becomes a thief. And then, although until now he was a shomer chinam and exempt if it was stolen, but now when he denies it, he becomes a thief, and if it gets stolen, he's chayiv. Nasa olav kigazlin, v'chayiv v'einsin. And then he's chayiv even if it was stolen by armed bandits. The Tanatuna, and we learned likewise, v'kichesh ba, he denies it. Lamanu einish. This comes to tell me the penalty, that the Ashim, he's guilty. Ashar minayin, where do we know a warning? Don't deny it. So Gemara says, "Mein lav la'inish moment." Doesn't this mean that even if he didn't swear, he just denied it, he's responsible if it's stolen? Says the Gemara, "Lo la'inish shvua." It's only talking about if he swears and then admits. But if he just denies it, then he's not going to be chai. Says the Gemara, "Habediktani seifa v'ishtava." If it says, since it says in the later part where he swore, Michlal dereisha d'lo yishtav. It's talking about where he didn't swear; he just denied it. Diktani seifa v'nishba al sheker, where he swears falsely. Lamadnu einish. We know a penalty. Asar minayin. Where do we know a warning? Talmud leimer lo yishakru. The seifa d'ishtav. Since the seifa is talking about where he swore, reisha d'lo yishtav. It's only talking about where he denied it. Says no. Imre aidi v'aidi d'ishtav. Kan shahida. One is talking about where he swore and then he admitted it. Kan shabo edim. He didn't admit it, but witnesses came. Also edim, if witnesses came, then chayiv ba'insim. Then that just means that if there was an einus and it was stolen from him, he's chayiv. Oiduye oide, if he admitted it after swearing falsely, then he has to bring an oshim and pay a fifth. However, if Marshall just said, "I don't got it," but he didn't take an oath, he doesn't at that point become liable for einsim if it was stolen from him. Okay, Rabbi say we're just going to pause a moment here to change the channel. If you saw, my Rebbitzin came down moments before. That was just to let me know that I have to shut off the oven from the kugel because